whenever healthy people are not able to provide care.
We do one of the functions.
Get there. The media are so fixed in the COVID narrative that they can't look at what's actually happening. The flu this year has caused 10 times more death than COVID. And most deaths now aren't happening in the hospital sector but in people's homes. Again, for reasons which we've discussed previously, the fear of going to hospital and the non-availability of services. The other thing I wanted to mention about staff shortages, not only because of forced self-isolation, but I've spoken to nurses who are traumatised and literally cannot cope in their work because they are having to implement the diktats that these inhumane monsters in governments are imposing. They have to turn people away from visiting their relatives who are dying. The man or woman who shared their life, their bed and their family for maybe 5 decades, they're having to watch them crying at the ward door, begging to be allowed in to say their last farewells. And it is how can people who are pledged to give their lives to help people, how can they possibly function in such a system? The other important thing is the media have largely ignored the fact that it's anticipated there'll be some 35,000 excess cancer deaths this year due to the non-availability of screening services and late diagnosis. If you have cancer and it's diagnosed at stage 1, your outlook with modern medical treatment is brilliant. If it's diagnosed at stage 2, 3 or 4, your chances go down incrementally. But through all of this, the media have just been spouting British government propaganda and repeating the drivel and lies of Boris, Pratt, Hancock and Chris Witless and these crooked villains and words fail me. And I've said our own Pride and Stormont are much better, and I do it again here. I've said it right from the start. I will debate any one of them. The scientific officer, the chief medical officer, the minister for health. About the science and the morality of what they are doing to these people in the name of protecting their health and saving their lives. And we saw in our own city this week the quiet dignity of a man in Craigan who refused to allow his beloved son's passing to be sensationalised by this craven media. And his father says to be reduced to a headline or a statistic, and I applaud that man and I applaud that family. But to my mind, the most pernicious thing about the current media narrative, and we're hearing it from the church and we're hearing it from our politicians and we're hearing it from everybody, is the big lie that this is the fault of the people who are suffering from it. Our citizens are tied in an abusive relationship with the state, deprived of their basic civil liberties, their freedom to protest, to travel, to work, to see their families, and then they're told when these sham tests go up that it's their fault. How dare they? We cannot control a virus. It's not in the gift of people to control a virus. If we locked ourselves up for 10 years and came out again, the virus would still be there. And people need to know. The media should be telling them this is not an unduly dangerous disease. 99.7% of people who become infected will make a complete recovery. The global mortality is 0.013%, and the majority of people, all of these people are already immune due to antibodies, cross-immunity, our wonderful killer T cells, and all these other things that mean that we can wade through the millions of viruses we encounter every day without dying on the spot. The average age of death was 84. The average all-cause age of death is 82. And most people, the average number of comorbidities was 2.6. So that for people who are younger and have no risk factors, no coexisting morbidities, this disease is absolutely not going to cause any problem. So why are we locking up a healthy population? Why are we preventing people developing immunity to this so that they can, by proxy, by that immunity, protect their loved ones? You've heard it said here before. No serious data analyst or statistician believes there is no evidence that lockdowns make any difference whatsoever. All they do is make people poor, miserable, unhealthy and despairing. Across the planet, regardless of the severity of lockdown, regardless of what governments did, somewhere between 500 and 600 people per million of population lost their lives to this virus. Sweden, without a lockdown, had a death rate similar to the UK. The second wave, as I predicted, isn't happening, and don't let anybody tell you that it is. This thing is following a Gophert's curve, which viruses have been doing since the dawn of time. They increase, they take the weak and vulnerable, and then they tail off. But we're being locked up again, and make no doubt about it, we're not seeing Christmas unless we stand up. I'm not an economist, but the financial meltdown across the world as a result of this collective insanity is something that doesn't bear thinking about. Sinn Féin proposed a motion in this country. Do you know what they said? They said, shop local, support local businesses for Christmas. I suggest that they should talk to their cronies in the Dáil and in Stormont and ask them to allow local businesses to open. So what's all this about? I don't know. But I'll tell you one thing, it's not about health. It's not about health. This is making the health of the people of this country and across the world immeasurably worse. So, if it is about a great global reset, a fourth industrial revolution, there are adults in the room. Tell us. Let us know what is happening. Let us discuss our futures and stop lying. If it's about control and monitoring of our every relationship and financial transaction, tell us, we can deal with it. If it's about an attempt by humans to control the Earth's climate, and good luck with that, but tell us. If it's about any of the other things that the so-called conspiracy theorists say it is, tell us, and we'll deal with it like adults. Have the discussion. But stop destroying lives, livelihoods, communities, and people's happiness with a health scare which is unsupported by lived experience. I can live in poverty. I can live in poverty. I can live without a car. I can live without foreign holidays. I can live without fancy food. But I cannot live without my freedom, and I cannot live without